Windsor in early summer ought to be the very embodiment of English serenity, broad, sun-splashed avenues in the great park, deer moving like pale ghosts between oak trunks, the distant silhouette of the round tower cresting the horizon beyond Adelaide Cottage. It was precisely that idyll, the promise of green space, relative privacy and a childhood spent outdoors, that persuaded the Prince and Princess of Wales, in the late summer of 2022, to relocate their young family from the manicured precincts of Kensington Palace to this smaller, more secluded Georgian lodge. George, Charlotte and Louis were thrilled at the idea of cycling without convoy cars humming behind them, of building stick dens in copses still bearing Charles II's hunting markers, and of mucking about on the lake at Virginia Water. What William and Catherine did not anticipate was that, within 2 seasons of their settling in, a miniature intruder would complicate the Edenic picture, and require a level of vigilance that few households, royal or otherwise, had faced before. That intruder is the oak processionary moth caterpillar, an altogether un-English visitor first noted in West London tree belts less than 2 decades ago, believed to have arrived in imported nursery stock from continental Europe. Individually the larvae are innocuous, scarcely 3 centimeters long with a brushed grey appearance. Collectively they become an ecological headache. In late spring they hatch in tight silk nests along oak branches, then advance in single-file columns, processions that can reach several meters, towards fresh foliage. At that stage each caterpillar is armed with up to 60,000 minuscule barbed hairs containing thaumatopopone, a defensive protein that causes intense dermatological and respiratory reactions in mammals. The hairs snap off at the slightest disturbance and waft on air currents, meaning that direct contact with the insect is unnecessary for irritation to occur. It is enough to walk beneath a branch on a breezy day. Windsor Great Park recorded its first verified nest in 2018. Subsequent surveys suggested the population was entrenched in 2 separate glades near Whiteley Lodge and Rising. Crown Estate arborists began a program of adhesive banding, nest vacuuming and targeted eco-pesticide fogging, yet eradication proved elusive. The woodland here is semi-natural, stretching across 4,800 acres of varied topography. For every nest removed, 2 more might emerge in an overlooked avenue or private paddock, and the caterpillar's urticating hairs can remain viable on bark for months. By spring 2024 the Forestry Commission's interactive risk map colored most of Windsor Park amber, a notation for frequent sightings. The palace's own household office quietly circulated an advisory note to staff: exercise dogs on leads, discourage children from tree climbing between April and July, report any webbed nests to the Ranger Service without attempting removal. Ordinary families in Berkshire and Surrey have been digesting similar guidance, but the Wales's predicament is magnified by circumstance. Catherine's public announcement of cancer treatment this March meant that her immune system, already stressed by preventative chemotherapy, must be shielded from additional allergens. Pediatric physicians further warned that asthmatic episodes brought on by inhaled caterpillar hairs can be more severe in younger lungs. As a result, those carefree afternoon bike rides for the children have been rerouted along tarmac estate roads recently swept by maintenance crews, and the planned family picnic under Queen Anne's ride was relocated to the formal lawn directly behind Adelaide Cottage, an area rigorously inspected by horticultural staff each dawn. Even Lupo too, the family's black cocker spaniel, now wears an orange collar during walks, a visual cue to any ranger that the dog is authorized off-lead only in inspected compartments. The human dimension of the infestation reaches beyond the royal fence line. A local primary school in Old Windsor cancelled its annual Minibeast Nature Trail when 3 pupils developed blistering welts on their forearms after collecting oak leaves for a science project. A stables in Ascot reported 6 cases of conjunctivitis among its grooms. At Frimley Park Hospital, dermatology consultants logged a 27% uptick in unexplained contact rashes during May, the majority resolving when patients were advised to avoid wooded dog walks for a fortnight. Public health briefings stress that symptoms, though uncomfortable, generally subside without complication, and that severe reactions are rare. Nevertheless, the psychological impact of an invisible irritant drifting on the breeze is considerable. Tour operators who run horse-drawn carriage rides along the Long Walk have begun offering disposable sleeve guards to nervous customers, while the Savile Garden gift shop has shifted an unexpected volume of lightweight shawls that visitors drape across bare shoulders as they meander beneath the avenue of purple-leaved oaks. To the surprise of many, the infestation has also stirred debates about environmental responsibility in royal circles. The King's policy team, already managing ash dieback and biosecurity around the Balmoral estate, must weigh the optics of further chemical interventions in a nationally treasured habitat. Traditional pyrethroid sprays are effective yet risk collateral damage to pollinating insects. Biological controls using Bacillus thuringiensis are gentler, but less certain on mature canopies. There is talk of trialing pheromone disruption traps imported from Germany, suspended at canopy height, to confuse the male moth's breeding cycle. Funding such trials, however, would require either Treasury support, complex in an age of public sector frugality, or direct expenditure from the monarch's private estate, again raising questions about precedent and visibility. Throughout, William has adopted a characteristically pragmatic stance. Friends say the prince views the episode as a lesson in adaptive stewardship. Great houses were historically threatened by Dutch elm disease, rabbit plagues, even bomb damage. Today the menace happens to be arthropodic. He has reportedly asked aides to collate data on citizen science apps, so that infestations can be mapped in real time, mirroring wildlife tracking platforms used in his Earthshot Prize projects. Catherine, for her part, has embraced precaution without panic. Palace insiders noted her request for educational material from the Royal Horticultural Society so that George and Charlotte could better understand why certain woodlands are temporarily off-limits, turning, in effect, a health advisory into a biology lesson. If there is a silver lining to the furry cloud, it is that Windsor Great Parks managers have rediscovered the value of public engagement. Weekend pop-up stores now dot the park. Volunteers hand out laminated ID cards featuring the caterpillar and its nest, encourage visitors to photograph sightings and explain why removing deadwood, vital habitat for some moth predators, has been paused until August. The approach echoes conservation models at National Trust properties, demystifying the management of grand landscapes and fostering a sense of shared custodianship. In that respect, even a pest can become an improbable educator. Whether the oak processionary moth remains a short-lived nuisance, or an enduring feature of Britain's arboreal tapestry, life at Adelaide Cottage will proceed, adjusted but undiminished. The children still play football on the grass quadrant where World War II bomb shelters once stood. The princess continues her quiet convalescence, turning afternoon strolls into mindful exercise circuits cleared of hazardous foliage. And Windsor, that bastion of royal continuity, reminds everyone that a crown may defy political storms, but a caterpillar, no bigger than a matchstick, can rewrite the small print of any summer day. ChatGPT